Hi, and welcome to the Absite Smackdown podcast. My name is David Cashmere, and today we're going to discuss different study habits and how they affect Absite score.
Welcome to the Absite Smackdown podcast. We'll talk clinical scenarios, interesting Absite facts, and interesting general surgery knowledge. Now, let's get to it.
As a surgery resident myself years ago, I found one of the toughest things to do is to review consistently for the Absite. And not only did it seem to be challenging to get all the reading in, but it was even tougher come test time to sort out which way of studying was most effective. Do I go back over all the notes I've ever done? Do I use some online tutorial? Do I go to yet another lecture? There was no easy way. I found over time that for me personally, one of the most important things was that consistent review over time. And we've discussed on the podcast before just how important that is, to review consistently over time. One of the other things I looked for, and later as a program director, one of the things I looked for was, is there any rhyme or reason to what type of study habits get us over the line, get the residents over the line to raise Absite score? Well, there's evidence on it. And as you know in the podcast, Jessica and I have explored evidence on what makes us effective for the Absite. So here we are again. Today, let's talk about a study from the Journal of Surgical Education from around November 2014. And you can find this on PubMed, just like all the different articles we discussed.
Hi, it's Jessica, host of Absite Smackdown podcast. Follow the hashtag Project Smackdown team on LinkedIn, Insta, and Facebook. On LinkedIn, check out our page, Absite Smackdown. On Facebook, we're at Absite Smackdown. And follow us on Insta for a new Absite fact and photo every day, where we're at daily.absite.fact. Hashtag Absite Smackdown.
Now, this one focuses on how study habits centered on completing review questions raise Absite score. Now, we've talked about a lot of other things that correlate with Absite score, and you can listen to the other podcasts for that. Timing of vacation, effective call status. This article is called Study Habits Centered on Completing Review Questions Result in Quantitatively Higher American Board of Surgery in-Service Training Scores. And again, it's from the Journal of Surgical Education. It's by Chang et al. We'll leave a link on the bottom of the description of the podcast. We'll put it out there on social media where we share new episodes. Now, this one included a review of Absite scores of current at the time, and the year on this was, again, 2014. Current and past general surgery residents at one institution. It was a university hospital. The residents were then later polled to see how they prepared for their first in-training examination. And interestingly here, the mean number of review questions completed by residents was about 517. They did a regression analysis and they found out that completing more review questions was associated with a significantly higher percentile Absite score. And they drilled down on it to find that every additional 100 review questions completed by a PGY1 resident would improve Absite score, percentile score, by about 3.1 or so percent. Now, a couple things to share with you on this. Again, this is one institution. It may turn out that at other institutions, going to lecture, getting the textbook work in, doing online lectures like the ones we offer, having a great review book like Absite Smackdown, those things may have been necessary to allow residents to do more questions and propel themselves further.
The Absite Smackdown podcast is based on the best-selling review book, Absite Smackdown, the only Absite review with an entire video review course included. Visit AbsiteSmackdown.com and pick it up today.
So there's a lot to unpack here, but I wanted to share that there is evidence that doing review questions is at the very least very important. And you have lots of options for these. Some are included with the review course that we have, the Absite Smackdown, but there are other ones, including TrueLearn and multiple other options that you can find online. But the bottom line is review questions are key. And that really matches my experience. When I was a resident, I found that I really had to do all the background work and reading for long-term retention. And then for study time, when I particularly focused on the Absite, and I did that every time I studied, questions really seemed to be key to understand the style of what was coming, the commonly asked facts, etc. So it wasn't enough just to have the high-yield books and study the right facts, but then on top of that, hearing the lectures really reinforced that on what facts were important, and then finally doing questions. So to share with you here for this podcast, one of the things I think is key, questions matter. There are multiple options to get your review questions in. I feel, and I've seen experientially, that we need that review book, that excellent review book. We need to hear and experience the data that we're going to be tested on, especially to be good surgeons and for long-term retention. But at least another key ingredient is doing questions and somehow checking ourselves for our understanding. So in this brief episode, I wanted to share with you some of the available evidence on how study habits centered on completing review questions result in quantitatively higher American Board of Surgery in-service training exam scores. At least at this one institution, they clearly did. Experientially in my training, they do. And I really can't say enough about it. So make sure you look to those questions. Take a look at our website, absitesmackdown.com, for more podcasts to learn other things that correlate with success on the Absite so that you can maximize your time this year and your outcome. Have a great day. Best of luck, and hope things are going well for you.
Thanks for listening to the Absite Smackdown podcast. Visit us at absitesmackdown.com for more great Absite facts.